This last aspect of coordination and response, part 5, uh, where we look at plant response, is the last part of this topic. It's been a stressful week, but hopefully we are making progress. Um, so this is the syllabus. You just need to pause it. While this topic is quite short, you find out that most of the content you need to learn is even here already on your syllabus. So if you know your syllabus well, that's why I said it's good you know it well. So first, you define gravitropism as a response in which part of a plant grow towards or away from gravity. When it grows towards or away from gravity is gravitropism. Then phototropism as a response in which parts of the plant grow towards or away from the direction from which light is coming. That's phototropism. Then you should be able to explain phototropism and geotropism of a shoot as an example of chemical control of plant growth. Then we'll now look at example of the role of auxins in controlling the shoot growth limited to this. So this is all. If you are asked, describe how auxin help to control growth. Auxin is made in the shoot tip or apex. Auxin is spread from the plant from the shoot tips. Auxin is unequally distributed in response to light and gravity. Auxin stimulates cell elongation. You get the mark. Now, describe the use of weed killer of synthetic plant hormones. So that's it. So let's move quickly. Coordination in plants or tropism. You see, tropism are responses by plant of a part of a plant towards or away from a stimulus. So it's response towards or away from a stimulus coming from one direction. Now, the movement is always a growth movement. So take note, this movement is always a growth movement. Now, like animal, plants are able to respond to their environment, although usually with much slower responses than those of animal. So you find out that trophic response can be positive. So you can have positive gravitropism, positive phototropism, negative gravitropism, and negative phototropism. So it can be positive when if growth is towards the stimulus. Like in this case, in this diagram now, you find out that the plant here is growing towards the source of light. So this is positive phototropism being depicted here. Then it can also be negative if growth is away from the stimulus. So you see, this is gravity. The gravity is moving, supposed to be down. So this shoot of the plant is growing upward. So it's not growing towards gravity. So in this case, this shoot of this plant is experiencing what is called negative gravitropism. So now, in general, plants respond to stimulus by changing their rate or direction of growth. They may grow either towards or away from a stimulus. Now, these response are called tropisms. So you see, the two major stimulus here are gravity and light, and the name of response is gravitropism and is sometimes called geotropism. And here is phototropism. Definition: grow towards or away from gravity is gravitropism, while growth towards or away from the direction of light is phototropism. Now, when the growth towards gravity, e.g., root grows towards gravity, that's positive response. So in this case, it's called positive gravitropism. But when the growth is growth towards light, e.g., the shoot, that's positive phototropism. But in this case, when growth is away from gravity, example, the shoot is usually grow away from gravity, that is now negative, is negative gravitropism, while when growth away from light is negative phototropism, and in this case, roots grows away from light. So quickly, two important stimuli for plants are light and gravity. We've stated that already. So phototropism is growth in response to light. Geotropism is growth in response to gravity. So like in this case, you find out that this plant is growing towards light if the light source is coming from this direction. While in this case, you find out that despite this plant fell off, the root has still changed direction, growing downward. That is positive gravitropism. But however, the shoot is growing upward, which is negative gravitropism. Now, shoots normally grow towards light. Roots do not usually respond to light, but a few grow away from it. Now, shoots tend to grow away from the pull of gravity, while roots normally grow towards gravity. Now, let's look at this. Control of plant growth by auxins and weed killers. By auxins and weed killers. So auxins are plant growth substance or hormones. So auxin is a plant growth hormone produced by the shoots and root tips or apex of the shoot and root. It's called tips or apex, A-P-E-X, of growing plants. Auxin in the shoot stimulates cell growth / elongation by the absorption of what? Water. While auxins in the root slow down the cell growth. So it now grows downward towards gravity. Now let's look at this quickly, the process involved. Now, control of plant growth by auxins. In this case, we are looking at positive phototropism. So first, what happens is auxins are made or synthesized in the tip of the shoot, just like this. Now, in the presence of strong directional light, that's the light is moving from this direction, auxins diffuse away from it. So it diffuses away from light and move towards the shaded part. This is the shaded part, this is the sunny part. So what it does is uneven growth is caused by the uneven distribution of auxin, because the auxin now will absorb more water and there will be more growth in the what? In the shaded part. That now you see more cell elongation. The cell is more elongated in this shaded part than in this light part, which will now make the plant to bend towards the light direction. Now, auxin will increase growth of cell in the meristem, so will cause shaded side to grow and elongate faster than the side in the light. So it will now cause it to bend towards light. Now, more auxins moving in the shaded side, cell are stimulated to absorb more water on the shaded part. So the stem will bend in the process because there will be more water on the shaded part and less water in the root. So all this will now make it to grow more and grow towards light. Why in the root we have negative phototropism. We've explained that. Now, in the case of geotropism and gravitropism is growth in response to gravity. Now, gravitropism is very important in plant as it directs root growth towards the pull of gravity. That's positive gravitropism, and stem growth in the opposite direction. That's negative gravitropism. Now, in the case of auxins in geotropism, what happens is if the shoot is placed horizontally in the presence of light, auxin accumulates in the lower side of the shoot due to gravity. Now, cells on the lower side grow more quickly, so the shoots bend upward. This is called negative geotropism, when the shoots bend upward. Now, if the root is placed horizontally in the absence, in this case, in the absence of light, what will happen is that the auxin accumulates in the lower side of the shoot due to gravity. Cell on the lower side will grow slowly, and the shoot bends downward. This is called positive gravitropism. So in this case, auxin makes the root grow down, while auxin makes the stem grow up. So when placed horizontally in the absence of light, what will happen? More auxins are moving in the lower side. So they will move to the lower side. So the shoot, we have positive, root positive. But cell growth on the lower side, there will be more cell growth on the lower side. So the shoot upward, while the root will move downward. So the shoot moving upward is negative geotropism, while the root moving downward is positive geotropism. So effect of weed killers. So take note of this. It comes out a lot as a 3-mark question. Weed killers. Now, weed killers, known as herbicides, they are also herbicides, which are chemicals that kill weeds in plants. So what happens is herbicides are synthetic plant hormones. Herbicides are synthetic plant hormones. Now, similar to auxins, if these chemicals are sprayed onto the plant, they cause what is known as rapid, uncontrolled growth and respiration, resulting in the death of the plant because the plant will not be able to respire to produce enough energy that will keep up with the growth and rapid respiration. So eventually it will die out. So some plant species are more sensitive than others to synthetic plant hormones. So weed killers can be selective. Many weed killers kill only broad leaf plants, which are dicotyledons. And because broadleaf plants absorb more of the chemical, leaving grasses, which are monocot, unharmed. So synthetic auxin as weed killers. Some of the most common weed killers are synthetic auxins, such as the 2,4-D. So in an exam, you see where they'll ask you, describe how the 2,4-D act as a weed killer. So, and it's many variants because they are selective herbicide killing broadleaf plant but not grasses. So if they ask you in an exam, describe how 2,4-D act as a weed killer. Now, first, if it's sprayed and it affects more of broadleaf plants, which lead to uncontrolled growth and respiration of that plant, and the plant cannot photosynthesize to keep up with the rapid growth and respiration. So as a result, it will die out from the chemical sprayed on it. So that's it. I think with this, we've come to an end of this topic called coordination and response. What next we'll do is I'm going to do a video on how to answer questions on coordination and response, and hopefully by the end of today, and that video will be uploaded on the YouTube channel. So subscribe so that once I upload the video, you get a notification as quick as possible.